it's me, Jessica. I'm in here.
Yeah. This is the Austin and Matt podcast. This is Matt.
And this is Austin.
This is episode 20. We watched Freaky. But first, Austin, what are you watching this week?
Yeah, so first thing is I got really absorbed into the My Hero Academia manga. Everyone was kind of talking about the new season that was going on, and I kept just on TikTok seeing spoilers and comments. So finally I was like, you know what? If I catch up to the manga, I can't get spoiled anymore. So I was about 120 chapters from where... So yeah, it's about 100 chapters from where they are now in the show versus where they are in the manga. So like I binge read through those in like 3 days just to catch up. And I'm not going to spoil anything about it because I know that you watch the show, but I am really excited for how they animate the next things. That's probably what I've been like most appreciative of with this anime, is that they've took their time on the scenes that matter. Yeah, some of it, like, they can have easy animation that's totally cool, but these next, I would say probably 3 arcs that they have coming up, they're going to look great. So really excited about that. Really happy for that. And it was a lot of entertainment reading through all those. But really the only movie that I watched this week, because I was busy with other things, was Gunpowder Milkshake. Have you heard about it?
I have heard about it. I've seen the trailers. I was intrigued, but not like excited. I do love Jillian something. What's her name again?
Karen Gillian.
Karen Gillian, thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, she's in it. That's actually what drew me to the movie. So I've actually liked her back when she was one of the companions on Doctor Who. And when I found out that she was going to be Nebula on Guardians of the Galaxy, I was like, awesome. But I never knew who Nebula was, so I didn't know what kind of character she was going to play. And it was like completely different than what she was in Doctor Who. In this role, I would say it's like a pretty good mix between like Nebula and how she was in Doctor Who. So it's fun to see like a little bit of a lighter side. And it has the... I don't know her name, but she plays Cersei in Game of Thrones. So it's nice to see her in another movie too. A lot of it was like overdrawn, way over the top on things, but like I really like that. The easiest way I can explain it, and I know you haven't seen the movies, but it's like John Wick, but female form.
Okay, but you said kind of over the top. From what I understand, like John Wick scenes aren't terribly over the top. Like they're pretty like technically accurate to genuine like fighting like that. Am I way off base? I've never seen a John Wick movie, which I know is like a sin, but I have not.
So the John Wick combats that everybody knows and loves, there's a lot that goes into it, and yeah, it's pretty precise in what it does. Some of the deaths that do happen are like kind of like, oh shoot, like that guy just got taken out. They kind of just up like some scenes. Like for instance, one of the kills that happens is this chick like drops this chain down and like wraps this guy's neck and then like jumps off a balcony with like holding it. And it's like, that would never be in a John Wick movie, but like that was super sweet. So it was cool. Cool. But the wife and I were excited about that when we watched that one. So it was nice. But really that's all I really did watch this week. And kind of read. So what did you do?
So I watched Green Lantern with my wife. Not really much to say about that other than the fact that it's just as hot of garbage as everyone ever said it was. So
the Ryan Reynolds one?
Yeah, I think that's like really the only, at least live action one that's been made. We are getting, from what I understand, a Green Lantern core show that I don't think is even really going to be about Hal Jordan. It's just kind of going to be about the Green Lantern Corps. I could be wrong on that. Then I watched The Green Knight last night. Okay. That movie is a lot of things. It is kind of... it is very artsy, very visually like stunning and even breathtaking. But story-wise, it's kind of all over the place. And weirdly, like the movie I kept thinking about while watching it was The Revenant with Leonardo DiCaprio. And it was filmed almost similarly to that, but it was a little all over the place, like with what it was trying to do with the story, I thought, and I got a little bit lost and disinterested, and overall I wasn't in love with it. It had some interesting things going on.
This is crazy to me. So I'm just looking up kind of like the ratings behind it. IMDb is like 7.6. Rotten Tomatoes is like 89%. Google reviews out of 795 reviews has it a 2.2 out of 5. Like, what the hell is going on?
I'm willing to bet it's going to be a pretty divisive movie, where there are going to be people who think that it is like this amazing new awesome movie, and other people that are just kind of like, pardon my French, but it has its head up its own ass a little bit. So I don't know. I think a repeat viewing would probably bode well for me, and maybe even getting a chance to kind of read people's interpretations on it and what it's trying to do. And the more I thought about it, I have a little better idea of what it was getting at, and I like it. I just don't love it. So then I watched The Green Mile solely for the fact that I thought it was funny that I could have 3 green titled movies to talk about. So I literally watched The Green Mile yesterday just because I thought it was funny. Great movie. I mean, there's no complaints there.
Did you also watch The Green Hornet?
No, I did look up other green titled movies on IMDb to see if there's anything else I could fit in there. Had I realized this was going to happen earlier, I could have. I would maybe
could have. Okay.
Like a huge freaking So now I'm like, in my head, I'm like, okay, maybe I could try and watch like a bunch of red movies next week and do like a color thing, which is so stupid and silly that I want to do it. But anyway, we'll see if I can pull that off. Okay, the last thing I watched, which honestly, I ended up liking it quite a bit, surprisingly. Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar. I think I would kind of compare it to like the movie Hot Rod, because Hot Rod is this absurdist comedy that has really weird things happening that I usually don't love, that random, totally out of the bounds of reality kind of humor. Like that usually gets more on my nerves. And for some reason, Hot Rod I find really endearing and love. And I wouldn't say this was endearing or lovely, but still a lot of fun. And there's this one gag in it that killed me, where the 2 main ladies, Barb and Star, obviously, they mention the name Trish and suddenly get really invested into the name Trish and how much they love the name Trish, and create this like entire backstory for a woman named Trish. And it lasts for like 5 minutes. And it was just so weird. I was dying. I thought it was really funny. So overall, it's okay. But it had some moments that were just so silly and bizarre that I really liked it. Anyway, that's all I watched. Should we get to this movie? Freaky?
Hell yeah, man. Let's get freaky.
Okay. Quick synopsis. Millie is a somewhat frumpy senior in high school who is dealing with the recent death of her dad, a codependent borderline alcoholic mother, and crushing on a boy who may or may not be interested. Through a crazy set of circumstances, an enchanted Aztec knife, and a serial killer dubbed the Brookfield Butcher, her body is swapped with a madman. Chaos ensues, and she works with her friends to find her original body and swap back before midnight the next night, and before more people are murdered by a killer in her body. Okay. Austin.
Yeah.
How'd you like this?
I actually did enjoy the movie quite a bit. A lot more than I thought it was going to be honest. Like, when I first saw it, I was like, this is probably going to be something around the lines of like Scream in a way, or like just kind of like old school horror. And then when I first saw that Vince Vaughn was the killer, I was like, I'm not sure how I feel about this. Like, is like average Joe gonna start coming out and throwing like dodgeballs and wrenches at people to like kill them? But I was completely wrong in how all of that went. So Vince Vaughn being in this is actually one of my favorite things. He starts out being like pretty much doesn't say a single word, and then pretty much the whole switch happens, and now it's like the personality of Millie is now into Vince Vaughn, which is just, it gives me kind of like that Jack Black vibe from Jumanji.
Yeah.
It's like there's a girl in this man's body. And I think Vince Vaughn does a really great job to one, stick true to the original character that we met at the very beginning, but also to like just try to put himself into a situation of like, yeah, like this is kind of empowering to be in this giant body, even though it's only somewhat like not permanent.
And can I just point out too, like, I don't think I ever realized how giant of a human being Vince Vaughn was until now. Like, this movie really points out, like, yeah, if you were a 17-year-old girl who's that small, suddenly in a man's body, like, that realization of how big he was and how powerful you would be without realizing it, I thought was so funny.
Yeah. Like the one scene that really sticks out to me is when they're chasing Brooker in the like the mini golf like haunted house thing, and he just like goes through walls like it's really nothing, whereas in his other body you'd be like bouncing off of them and like falling all over the place. So that was pretty fun. Vince Vaughn, I feel like he did a great job. I hadn't seen a good Vince Vaughn movie in a long time, and this kind of gave me like old school vibes and dodgeball vibes. So I really appreciated that out of him. And then also like the entire movie gave me more of like the Hot Chicks vibe,
like a much superior version of Hot Chick. But yes, that movie came to mind while I was watching this. Yes.
Yeah. So like the scenes where Vince Vaughn's trying to like convince his friends that it is him. The only thing that was going through my head, it's like, it's me, Jessica. I'm in here.
Yeah.
So it was really good, and they had a lot of fun with it. A lot of it was like very over the top. They doubled down on like the horror killings and things, and really just from, I would say, yeah, probably from the beginning to like the end, I was pretty invested. There is one part at the very end that I do want to talk about later, but really, I had a lot of fun. What are the things that you like about it?
Overall, I'll point out I really enjoyed this, and I wasn't expecting to. I don't even know what, I think maybe it was when I first saw the trailer, I was like, okay, so it's basically the Hot Chick, but kind of a horror comedy, whatever. But everything I heard about it had been overwhelmingly positive. And so I was super excited to watch this, and I really, really enjoyed it. I think probably like my favorite scenes, I would say, I hope this doesn't sound, what's the word? Gross, I guess. But every single murder I really enjoyed. Like, it was really funny, horror comedy. And I know this was a little bit of a lazy way to do it, but because it was a horror comedy and we wanted to keep it light, everyone who died had it coming to some degree. Like, everyone who died was someone we didn't like, and we weren't necessarily happy to see them go, but we didn't necessarily feel bad to see them go either. So I thought that worked really well. I think when it comes to like horror comedy, especially when it comes to kind of the gross out stuff, I really love like Shaun of the Dead. So getting to see like another horror comedy that brought in like this much gore and violence was a lot of fun. I liked the ending. I thought it ended really, really well when it came to how they resolved this, how she was able to get her body back, the setting her watch 5 minutes early. One thing that this is what I was sure was going to happen. This is how I envisioned the ending. I envisioned it definitely being permanent at the end of the movie. Like, she didn't switch back in time. But then I thought it was going to be an easy little like, oh, I'll just stab my friend here, switch bodies with them, and then we'll stab and switch back. Like, I thought they were going to find a loophole, which is probably a little too complicated anyway, so they resolved it perfectly fine. But I was kind of excited to see them get a little technical with it. I think you're a fan of Futurama. I know there's a body switching episode where they have to do, from what I understand, is like a bona fide real working mathematical equation that you can use if body swapping really did happen on that wide of a degree to get everyone back into their right bodies. So I thought I would have liked to see that, but it probably would have gotten too messy. Favorite scene of the entire movie, Austin, a kiss, because it is awkward. It is hilarious. I think had this movie come out in the 90s or even the early 2000s, there's no way that they would have kissed because people were way too homophobic and weird about it. And it would have been more of a scene of like, oh, I like you, but ew, I'm not going to kiss you. Let's wait till your body's back. And maybe even if you don't get your body back, this definitely isn't going to happen. Instead of going that route, which I think would have been, like I said, like a 90s, early 2000s move, it instead went full-fledged where he was like, I like you. I don't care. I'm going to kiss you anyway. And it was cute. I found it believable. I found it likable. I loved it. I seriously was like all on board with that. So to see that happen, and I did. And I think the way they also the way they kind of got around like a whole makeout scene was like they kissed and her being like, let's do this when my hand isn't bigger than your face. And I was like, okay, like it just, everything they did worked for me there. I really liked it. So that was really like my favorite part of the whole movie. But yeah, I don't have many complaints. But Austin, what did you not like about this movie?
Yeah, so there's really only two things that stick out to me that don't quite sit right. First one is that douchebag shop teacher. Like, I get it, teachers can be dicks, but like the level of dick that he was like way too big of a dick. Comparing that, he was like, it wasn't something where like sometimes you can throw it into like sexism, like maybe he was like this like all female students. No, there wasn't. Maybe it was something where like her mom passed up on him like in high school. No, there wasn't any connection like that. Like, is she failing this class? No, like her project's due on the 16th. So, like, we don't really know why he hates Millie so much, and that bothers me. Like, if I would have just gotten like a peek that like she was failing classes and like having a harder time with her dad's death, yeah, that gives me a better understanding. Still not justified to be that big of a dick, but like I would at least understand that. But
did you recognize who that actor was?
No. Who is he?
Have you seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
Yes, like
that's
forever
Cameron.
ago.
That's Cameron.
That's Cameron?
Yep.
Frank?
That's Alan Ruck. Yep. Yeah, he's definitely older. The funny thing is my first like actual exposure to him was in the TV show, the sitcom from the 90s, Spin City, where he plays like a really like horny, misogynistic kind of a-hole character. And then it was when I watched Ferris Bueller, I was like, that's that guy from Spin City. But yeah, I love to see him in anything because I love to see his career has been successful enough since Ferris Bueller's Day Off. But anyway, keep going.
Okay. But to go into like the actual fight scene between them, I did like that part. Just like self-defense, practice every day. Like that was pretty funny. But yeah, like just his level of dick baggishness. I'm gonna make up words for it because it was so bad. I had a hard time with it. Also, like the double ending that happened. So it's like everything was resolved, and then it's like, wait, there's like 20 minutes left of this movie. What the hell are we gonna do? And then he just shows back up to her house. This time, he's talking. He's not like, I'm not gonna sing a single word. Like now, this is personal. I will say though, I did like watching him get his ass kicked by the mom, the sister, and Millie. Like that was pretty satisfying.
Like I kind of had issues with that ending too, where I was like, you could have ended the movie 10 minutes ago, and I would have been happy. But I also did. It was like it worked a little bit because I think it definitely was trying to show like she's changed, she's learned from this, she's not going to be scared anymore, and like it worked. But I had issues with it too that I'll get into in just a second here.
Yeah, I really would have actually liked it if they kind of continued this a little bit. Like I think there could be more that comes from this. Maybe there's a serial killer out there that's Will Ferrell instead of Vince Vaughn.
Or Jack Black. He's already proved he can do that.
It's probably going to be The Rock.
Which would also actually work. I'll jump into this now because I had the same feeling.
Okay.
So this is a movie that it definitely like, it's a horror comedy, and it really like in a lot of ways kind of emulates some of those classic horror movies. I mean, there's obviously a very obvious reference to Friday the 13th. There's obvious reference to a lot of stuff. So like those movies tended to end with that like twist cliffhanger, you know? So for this to end in a way, like I almost feel like there's an alternate ending where Vince Vaughn is in the ambulance. He pretends that he's dead. He kills those people, and suddenly you kind of know through some kind of visual storytelling, like his goal is to switch bodies with her specifically again. So bam, we get our sequel, you know? And I feel like this is a movie that has room for a sequel. This movie was so much fun. I'm like, I'd see another movie about this if they were able to twist things up in the right way. And it doesn't really do that. And so I'm with you where it's like, I want to see more from this. And arguably there could still be one. I mean, especially with horror storytelling like this, it could very easily be like, who's the one person she went to high school with who's going to figure out all the little cute clues about this dagger and want to switch bodies with her? Or like there's places it could go, but there's no way that this would go in a way we could see Vince Vaughn again. And I want to see Vince Vaughn again because he did such a good job. So I am with you on that. This is one other complaint, and it's a stupid complaint because they actually did a pretty good job at covering their tracks here. I mean, Vince Vaughn and Millie's character were in the same place around the same time at every single murderer. In all honesty, any like police department of a smaller town like this is going to be like, that's an open and shut case and not worry about it. But there's part of me that's like, you don't think there's some cop that would be like, not everything's adding up here. I think Millie did it. And like, it's almost like I want to see the sequel where Millie is getting blamed for it and not having a good enough excuse, because your legal defense can't be the magic Aztec knife did it to me, you know? Yeah. Like, so like there was part of me that the really rational, stupid, like nitpicking part of me was like, you know, Millie's gonna get blamed for this. And so like it's a nitpick. And really, like I said, the movie in its how light and fun it was really covered their tracks here, where she's not going to get blamed with an easy explanation. But I mean, that was really like, I did not have many like really legitimate complaints with this movie. I thought it was tons of fun, and it's not high art or anything, but like super worth a watch. I would watch it again someday if I got the chance.
Yeah. So my question to you is,
would I kiss Vince Vaughn if my wife were in his body? Yes, I would. And I would want his giant hand on my face.
Here's what was going through my mind when that kiss scene was going on. I was like, Vince Vaughn is like 53, and this young kid is like probably 22, 24. So it's like there's like a 30-year gap between these two people.
Yeah.
Did they actually kiss? I mean, there could be some movie magic in there. Who knows? Knowing Vince Vaughn, he's probably like, whatever, just lay it on me.
You're thinking maybe they didn't actually kiss?
Like I'm just saying that if they wanted to avoid that, they could have easily done it with like something. But honestly, I feel like they're probably just like, do you want to do this? Yeah, I'm cool with this. Like, I'll do it.
Yeah.
So whether they did or they didn't, only thing I was thinking about is like, it's 30 years. Like that's gross.
Yeah.
But my question to you is, there's a lot of different like body swap movies. So a couple that come to mind is like Hot Chicks, Freaky Friday, Your Name is another example there. Do you feel like this fits towards like the higher tier of more like body swapping movies, or do you feel like it's more like low tier?
Really, the only body swap movie that I've seen that I genuinely really liked was Your Name. Okay. That's pretty much it. You could argue the body swap episode of Community is also probably up there for me. But yeah, I mean, of body swap comedies, which I mean, I guess, like I said, I don't think I've seen many body swap movies. This is a good one. Yeah, this one really, really did work. What other? Now I'm like, let's look up a list of body swap movies, because I want to see. I'm already
ahead of you.
Oh, you're way ahead of me?
Yeah. So here's some of them that are just listed. So there's like Freaky, Your Name. Do you have Disney Plus right now?
I do not.
When you get it again, they have a short
interesting.
on there that they did for what was it, for Luca?
So I didn't realize that this was a body swap story. I knew that it was a story about someone coming out to their parents. Mm-hmm. I had no idea it was a body swap story. That is cool. I will definitely be watching that.
Yeah, it's really, really good. There's The Swap, which I've never heard of. There's a Korean one, which is fun. Jumanji is technically part of that as well.
Oh, that's true. And I would actually put, I think Jumanji was really, really good. The one here that is an interesting one, I would never watch it. 9 Lives, where Kevin Spacey swaps bodies with a cat. This was right before he got basically Me Too. Change Up, which I've actually never seen, with Ryan Reynolds and Jason Bateman. That's one of the other ones that I think I would have to try. Okay, this list here says 13 going on 30. I wouldn't quite put that in a body swap. Has some similarities. So Monkey Bone. I remember seeing
the best one.
Monkey Bone back in my day. Oh, the best one was the best one.
Face Off.
Face Off isn't a body swap. It's a face swap movie. I've never even seen this movie. This movie, and also let's point out, Freaky definitely had some like big undertones, and let me rephrase that so it makes more sense. The movie Big, starring Tom Hanks, it definitely had some like the handshake. The fact that that's how he would convince his friends with a funny little dance and a handshake was like, boom, that is absolutely 100% homage to Big, and it works. It worked really, really well. I was super happy to see that. But Big is also not really a body swap comedy in the same vein of 13 going on 30.
Yeah. I was gonna say, so seeing all these movies, would you put Freaky more towards the top of it?
Absolutely.
Trope?
I would probably even. Yes, it's definitely top tier body swap movie. I can't think of anything other than Your Name that I really like more.